Hello, everyone. Wow. I am so excited. My name is Brandi Rains. If we haven't met yet, hello. This is super nerve-wracking to me, but I am so excited because I have a lot to say. I have always dreamed about starting a podcast. Honestly, I've done live videos for so many years, and I feel like I do a podcast every day doing makeup lives, but this is a way for me to connect with more people in a new way. I am truly honored that you took your time to listen to this. Thank you so much for being here. I want to dive in for our first season and really help you understand who I am. I believe that every single one of us has a story to tell, and that the reason we've gone through the things that we've gone through are ways to strengthen us to handle the magnitude of blessings that God has for us. There are also ways for us to help other people. My life motto is literally, we rise by lifting others. And I want to share more about me because a lot of people see me today and they think, wow, she's successful, but they don't understand what made me. So, welcome to Taking Life by the Rains podcast. I am Brandi Rains. I will be your host. And yes, I have plans in the future to do interviews, to bring guests in. But this first season, I want to get real. I want to get raw. I want to get down to the nitty gritty. I want you to really understand the layers, the onion. We're peeling it back, who she is and what made me. And hopefully it can help you in some way as I share my testimony, figure out maybe why you've walked through certain things that you've walked through, or allow you to understand that you are not alone in some of the struggles or some of the things that you have gone through. I struggled with the name of this podcast for quite a while. I literally went through a million different names, and I wanted something just really, really unique. I definitely was that girl that was told to take her desk in the hallway or turn her desk towards the wall. Like I keep seeing these videos of people saying, I can't wait to call or talk to my elementary school teachers or my high school teachers and say, actually, I do get paid to speak all day. It's actually insane. Okay, so this podcast, it's really going to be like the baseline. I have to give you the rice in the bowl before I can put all the fun toppings and sauce on it, and we can really dive deep. What to expect in this podcast? You can be expecting real life experiences, childhood trauma. Yes, girl, we're going to get into it. You can be expecting business tips, motivational help, and just things that have really helped me get to such a positive mindset. I think once I really share with you just like my life, you're going to be shocked at how I have even a positive mentality now. Of course, marriage, of course, motherhood. We're going to talk our faith testimonies. There's a lot to come in the Taking Life by the Rains podcast. So buckle up and let's get to it. I want to chat a little bit today about myself only because I want you to know who she is deep down. I came from a small town in Michigan, and this little small town, it often swallows people. Maybe you can relate to that. This small town is called Port Huron, Michigan. And I think that what I've come to realize is there are those people from small towns that never leave. And then there are people who are never meant to be there. And I feel like that's me. And that's not to hate anything about where I came from or my childhood. In fact, I'm going to share a lot about my childhood with you over the next several episodes. I don't regret a single bit of it. I wouldn't change a single bit of it because it truly made me. To try to sum up my childhood would be near impossible, but I will give it a shot. I will give it a shot and try to give you a little background about why I work so hard, why I honor my marriage so boldly, and maybe you can allow yourself to relate to some of these stories. I'm going to give it a quick little run. I'm going to give my childhood a quick little run through. However, we are going to dive deeper into little sections of my life because I know there are testimonies that God has in so many areas of my childhood and my life. Born in almost Alaska. I was actually born in Arizona. I was an Army brat. So shout out to my veterans, my Army brats, my current military, or maybe retired. I applaud you like crazy because the military is a big part of my story. Was born in Arizona, and I actually was born to my mother and to my brother's father, who technically adopted me. I never knew my biological father, and no, we're not going to get into daddy issues on this podcast episode. Maybe we'll get into that in the future because Lord knows that made me too. I grew up moving around a lot, but we settled in Port Huron, Michigan. Again, small town. And my parents ended up getting divorced when I was really young. I won't dive into all of that, but like truly, from probably age 3 had like the most roller coaster of events life. My mom and my dad both got remarried and stayed married until I was in about 8th grade, then divorced again. And that is one specific pivotal moment for me. So like, I think in our lives, we have these moments that shape us in good ways and in bad ways, teach us lessons, or they're like monumental moments that become a big part of our testimony. The summer of 8th grade for me was one of those moments. If I can indulge for a moment, both of my parents got a divorce, and it was really hard on me. That is like the most transitional time period of a teenager's life, is like going into high school. I don't think I realized at the time how detrimental both of my parents going through divorce was. But looking back on it, I was definitely parenting myself. My mom did the best she could with what she had. I love her for it. But to be honest, she really struggled. She hurt her back the summer of my freshman year and ended up having to basically take off work and couldn't go back. She worked midnights in a factory to be able to make some money, because before then, when she was still married to my stepdad, she stayed home with us and he worked. So kind of just like jumped into work. Well, ended up being just like a really hard job on her body, and she got hurt. So most of my high school days were, I won't go too deep into it, but were tough. I definitely knew what it was like to not have money. And I went to school on the north end of town. I lived on the south end, but my mom was gracious enough to do school of choice. And I went to school on the north end of town. And the north end of town is where everybody had money except for me and a few of my friends. I did find some solid friendships that I felt like home to me, because we could relate, or I guess trauma bond on like where we came from, what our home life was like, etc. And I'm actually still pretty decent friends with quite a few people from high school. I remember several occasions where I would be at like my boyfriend's house or my best friend's house and would be reminded, hey, make sure you shower before you come home. We don't have hot water this week. I remember several occasions where there was like this furniture rental company. Keep in mind, we rented a new house in 1-year leases every single year of high school. So I lived in a different home my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. We moved every single year to different rentals, and we would have rental furniture at most of them. Some of them didn't actually have furniture, but we would have people banging on the door, because if you skip a payment for this rental furniture company, meaning like a full living room set, a bedroom set, etc., they would literally come with their moving truck and take your furniture out of your house. And so that was fun. We would have to pretend like they weren't knocking on the door. I would say that 8th grade summer really was pivotal for me. I think I was hit with the real world. I learned how to become an adult at the age of 13. And I know there are so many people who had it worse than me, but knowing what it was like to go without, there was one time I was at my friend Megan's house, and we had a car that was helping you like rebuild your credit. So if you didn't pay the payment, you didn't get a code to input into the remote in the car, and the car would not start. I was at my friend Megan's house. Her dad had to go to work. He asked me to move the car. I went out to move the car. The car would not start because the payment hadn't been paid. And so we couldn't put the code in. And he had to put it into neutral and push it out of his driveway and then park it on the street until we were able to pay the payment and get the code to start the car. And I remember feeling so embarrassed and so sad and not embarrassed by my mom. Like, she was a single mom on unemployment with an injury. I was just so embarrassed at, like, I went to school with kids who were driving BMWs and Mercedes. And here I am with this little Jeep that chugs when you drive it. It's like, and I couldn't even get it to start some days. I feel like I realized early on, luxuries in life aren't cheap. Luxuries in life are simple. I learned to appreciate little things very early on. And so I look at the big picture of, like, why did God, I remember often asking, like, why, God? Why is this my life? Like, why can't I have parents that are married and happy? Why can't I have, like, the white picket fence and the blue door with, like, the happy family and the dog? Like, why are we always in survival mode? And now I know why. Now I absolutely know why. And there's a lot of things that I had to heal as an adult so that doesn't affect me the same way. Instead, it inspires me and it motivates me. But I know now he was strengthening me. That was boot camp. He was getting me ready for the real world, and he was getting me ready to run several multi-million-dollar businesses. He was preparing my heart to appreciate every person I come in contact with that has helped me get here, every person that supports me, that comments, that likes, that shares, that tells me they are motivated by me. He was preparing me to be so humble-hearted that I could handle that. He was preparing me because he was going to write big fat checks one day, and he needed me to be able to handle it. He needed me to be able to make sure it wasn't going to my head. He wanted me to really embrace what life was all about before he gave me any sort of blessings. And I appreciate him so much for that. So high school was hard. And 8th grade was definitely a pivotal moment. Man, we could unpack so many stories about high school, but we'll save some for the rest of the season. We're going to save a little bit. Another super pivotal moment was meeting my friend Brian. A little backstory on this really quick. My senior year of high school, my boyfriend at the time, and thank God, hey, thank you, shout out to you, my high school boyfriend. He just totally stabbed me in the back. Him and one of my best friends. We won't give names. We are healed. We have forgiven, and we have the grace of Jesus. So we are not going to name names. We're not blowing people's names out of the water here. But I basically came to work one day, and one of my best friends, Alexa, came to me and said, I have to tell you something. So-and-so is sleeping with your boyfriend. And this so-and-so was one of my very best friends. We did competitive dance together our entire lives. We were close. And she had only been with one other person, and they broke up, and she was telling me how she met somebody new and how she could never tell me who it was, but that she was sleeping with him. That was literally my boyfriend. And this went on for months and months and months. It wasn't like a one-time thing and then I found out. And when I did confront her, she said, aren't you glad it's me and not somebody dirty? Like, what? What? Who says that? I'm like accidentally almost slipping names. I'm like, don't do it, Brandi. Anyways, that was a blessing in disguise because I was like, I'm out of here. I had gotten a Pell Grant. This is back when Obama was in office. I got a Pell Grant for college. And I was able to actually afford to, so I got a Pell Grant to pay for college, but then I had like $2,000 left over, which $2,000 to me at the time, I still think that's a lot of money. We'll talk about money mindset and scarcity mindset on another episode because man, oh man, does your girl had to heal her relationship with money. It's so crazy because I took $2,000. I said, peace out, Port Huron, Michigan. peace out, all you losers that cheated on me. Like, I'm out of here. I literally flew to Orlando. Okay. I danced growing up. We talked about that. And we definitely got to dive into like dance as a whole. Man, I'm so glad I have a podcast because I have so much to say. So I ended up going to Orlando and I was auditioning to dance. I wanted to dance in Orlando. And they pulled me from that audition. I'll never forget this. It was so bizarre. They didn't tell me like right away what I was doing, but they pulled me from the dance audition. They took me to a dressing room. They started doing my makeup. They put a long black wig on me. Then they pulled this costume out and they handed it to me. And they had me audition to be, I'll just say, friends with Pocahontas, because once a Disney girl, always a Disney girl. We ain't ruining no magic over here, especially if your kids are around. I hope they're not. I don't think this is going to be a kid-friendly podcast, if I'm honest. But I ended up getting the job. So flew from Michigan to Orlando, auditioned, came back home, and I did a Skype interview. Do you remember Skype? Like, that was like the OG Zoom. Did a Skype interview, got the job, okay? And I remember being at Nick's Four Roses. It was a diner that I worked at, the same diner that Alexa came up to me and told me my boyfriend was cheating on me. That same diner I was working, I got a call saying I got the job and that they were giving me a relocation package, meaning they was paying your girl some money, okay? I was able to pack my little Pontiac Grand Am with everything I owned, packed it down, put it on a truck bed because I knew that car was born and raised in Michigan. It was gonna not make it far. It was rusted out. And we'll talk about that. There was another pivotal moment. We won't get into that one yet. But yeah, I ended up moving all my stuff down to Orlando. I found a roommate on Craigslist. Shout out AJ. AJ was a very flamboyant friend I met. He was like in his 40s, okay? He had a house. He rented a room to Robert the mechanic, Abby the esthetician, and then me. I'm not proud of this, but I did lie about my age. I actually had a fake ID and I lied and said I was 22. I was actually 18. I don't know why I felt like I needed to say I was older than I was. Again, I'm so glad that there's just so many parts that I've healed inside of me from then to now be so confident. I hope by the end of this first season on my podcast, I can help you feel so boldly confident in who you are and what you've walked through, not to be ashamed. There's so much I used to feel ashamed of, and now I feel proud that I've overcome it. Long story short, moved to Orlando, started working at Disney, and the pivotal moment, man, that took me a while to get to the pivotal moment. Believe it or not, the boyfriend cheating wasn't pivotal moment. That was like, bye, I am worth so much more. I'm out of here. And he did me such a favor because I think Port Huron, Michigan would have swallowed me and held me hostage if I didn't get cheated on. I think I would still live there. So pivotal moment was I was working at Disney, and that Pontiac Grand Am basically stopped working after about a month of working at Disney. Ended up having to get a lease or a car note, right? I went to Toyota. I got a car, had a car payment that Disney's salary was definitely not paying for. So I ended up having to get a second job. So I was working at Applebee's at night. So basically my weeks I would work at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Disney, have an hour between then to get to Applebee's, and I work 6 to 2 a.m. And I would do this 5 days a week often. And basically Disney has an attendance policy. So you accrue points and whatever. And so I eventually ended up getting fired. But before I got fired, this is like so broad now to me. It's so clear now to me that I went through that 2-year little spurt at Disney for this specific reason. I had a character attendant, so like the manager of me, or like the person that took me on and off set. So yes, I was Pocahontas at Disney, and I would do meet and greets all day long. It was crazy. It was like really so much fun, but also like really hot. And there was also sometimes like drunk men from like other countries with their whole families, and they would like try to fill you up, and that was weird. Like they're like taking a picture with their whole family and they're like grabbing you from behind. I'm like, what is happening? Like, help me. Yeah. Anyways. So I had this guy, Brian. I loved him to death. He was one of my very, very, very best friends from Disney. And actually, I've shared this story a few times, and I hope he sees this somehow and he knows just how impactful his friendship and his very specific words that he said to me are. Like, I hope I one day can repay him somehow. So one day my friend Brian came to me. Keep in mind, I'm working at Disney all day long, Applebee's all night long. Naturally, I'm like exhausted. I'm fatigued. Your girl's tired. Naturally, I'm so tired because I'm working like basically all day, every day, all night, every night. I wasn't the kindest person. And I'll be honest, even before like working both jobs, I really still wasn't the kindest person because I had a chip on my shoulder from so much trauma that I had not even explored healing. Who in their early 20s is exploring healing, right? Like, truly, I wasn't understanding that my past circumstances, the things that I had to go through that we really haven't even dived into yet, the trauma, the anger that built up inside of me because I was so mad about my past and like how slighted I felt. I felt so slighted. Like, why did God let this be the life I had? Why? I was so mad, had this chip on my shoulder. And I think in some ways that is a good thing for me because again, it gives me like work ethic. It gives me hustle. It gives me grit. It gives me motivation to like overcome that or be better than that, right? Like what I came from. But your girl just had an attitude. I was not, and I'll tell you, like Jesus has delivered me from that. Like I still to this day sometimes have to like rein it in and be like, no. Pull it in. Like that is the old you. And I am a Christian and I am saved. Thank the Lord. I believe that Jesus died for my sins. I believe he rose again. I believe he is the Son of God. And I'm so grateful that he has forgiven me, but that doesn't mean I don't struggle. That I don't give a crap who says this, okay? If you're a Christian, you still struggle with sin. You still struggle and fight who you used to be. And so at that time, I was making it anybody else's problem. I just was short-tempered. I just had an attitude. I wasn't friendly. I wasn't kind. Like I was young and dumb and I was angry. And so insert my friend Brian. He one day comes into my dressing room. And because I was a face character, I had my own dressing room. So I worked at Animal Kingdom 5 days a week and I had my own dressing room. And he came in one day and he said to me, I really need to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, like what's up? And he says to me, I think that you should know that a lot of people don't like you. I'm like, wait, literally laughing at him. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I think that you need. He's like, yeah, I think you need to know that a lot of people here don't like you because you're mean. And I'm like, what? Never in my life, never in my 18 years of life to that point, did anybody ever snap back at me? I was the girl in high school that if you had a problem with somebody, they would be like, have Brandi go talk to her. Like, because I could just set it straight. And like, I mean, frankly, I don't want to say people were scared of me because I don't think that's the case. But like, I just didn't care. I had nothing to lose. And so I would say and do whatever I wanted. Truly. And I mean, let's be honest, I didn't have a present father. Once my parents got divorced, he really wasn't in my life. And my mom was dealing with a lot of pain issues. And with pain issues comes pain management. We don't have to get into that, but like I was on my own. And looking at my friend Brian in the face and hearing him say, people don't like you because you're mean. I remember being like so hit by the Holy Spirit. And at that time, I definitely knew God and I had a relationship. But I think that it was another year after that that I was truly saved. But him coming to me in that moment and being so bold to say to me, people don't like you. Like you make your problems everybody else's problem. How many of us deal with that now, where we make our mood, our problems, our stress, our struggle, our husband's fault, our kids' fault? Like and not their fault. I guess I shouldn't say their fault. I should say their problem. Like, I'm in a bad mood, so everybody around me has to deal with it. And like, I will say, sometimes God has to call me to the carpet, even now, to remind me, like, wait a second. It's not your husband's fault that you're stressed about work. It's not your children's fault that you're stressed about money. It's not the lady at Starbucks' fault that the person in front of you took a long time to pay. Like, you can't think you're so important that your mood, your problems is everybody else's, and that you can't sacrifice and hold back and make changes and deal with it internally, right? So I think back to that moment that Brian came to me and said that, and you know what I did? I literally the next day, so that night I remember like self-reflecting and just frankly sobbing. And I was so, first of all, offended. It was like, I think we go through these stages of like dealing with things, right? So I was like offended, then I was like angry, but then I was like angry at myself. And it was like God really softened my heart. And he was like, no, I didn't call you to be this girl. And yeah, I know you went through a lot, but so have they. And the way that you treat people matters. And now, and so 15 years later, now I know, like, I've been through a lot. But I can't make that somebody else's problem. And when I deal with people that I know haven't healed their trauma and faced their trauma or done therapy, I can clearly see it. And I do sympathize for those people, but I create boundaries now where I don't let them in, because I realize, like, you've got to do the work. I went to the dressing room of like all the fur characters, right? So like Donald, Goofy, Minnie, Mickey, Pluto, Eeyore, all the characters. And keep in mind, the Animal Kingdom crew was pretty tight. Like, those people were like diehard Disney, and like unless they were college program, and that was the other thing, is like I was full-time, but I was new. Most of the full-time people like that worked there full-time, they had been there for decades. Then there's the group that's like the college program kids. Those are like they're transit, they're in and out, right? So like the people who are full-time, they're close-knit, but I'm new and I'm full-time. And Brian was the only, like, one of the very few people that I got close with that was a full-time employee as well. I went into this dressing room. I literally stood up like I had a podium and I said, "Excuse me, everybody." I can't believe I did this. I said, "I wanted to formally apologize if I have ever offended you, treated you poorly, treated you badly, was negative to you, was mean to you." I said, "I have been going through something really crazy. A lot. I didn't say I was going through something really crazy. I've been dealing with a lot in my personal life, but that's not your problem." And I wish I could remember like verbatim what I said, but I just basically was like, "I'm so sorry and please forgive me." And you want to know what? By the grace of God, they did. And from that moment, I had so many friends at Disney, and they would invite me to dinner and we would do things. And, you know, I still ended up getting fired because I still was exhausted from working at Applebee's every night and working at Disney all day, that I ended up just missing too many days, and they had like an attendance policy and I got fired. But like, guys, God is so good and so gracious. And that was another very pivotal moment. So I had my 8th grade summer. I had when my boyfriend cheated on me. Bye. And then I had the moment where I think God spoke through Brian and told me, "No, you need to be kinder. Like, this isn't who you are. I didn't call you to be this." And that I just think, what if that didn't happen? What if he didn't tell me that? And what if I would have went another 10 years making my problem everybody else's, making my stress everyone else's? I think that it's so crazy when I encounter people who haven't been able to walk through a scenario like that or be so blessed to have somebody say, hey, you're treating people badly. Hey, you're negative. Hey, people don't like your energy. I was so blessed to receive that. So maybe I can be that blessing to you. You have been through a lot. You're going through a lot. You've got a lot on your plate. You are truly holding it together by a thread, clearly. But everybody else has their problems too. Everybody else is juggling all the things. Everybody else is scared, stressed, grieving. Your life will feel so much lighter and full of love and full of kindness and full of positivity if you just choose to be that. If you go, okay, you know what? It's not their problem. Some of you are just walking around angry. You've got a chip on your shoulder. You treat your husband poorly. You're yelling at your kids. I'm not talking from my high horse because I told you I still struggle sometimes. Sometimes God has to be like, come on, Brandi, bring it back in. But like, what if you just made a change? And coming from somebody who it didn't happen overnight. I didn't just like become this angel. And even when I got married, it took me a while to learn my new roles in life as a wife and a mother and a military spouse and all the things, right? Like my husband was in the Coast Guard for almost 6 years and I had to learn what that looked like and how to act around these people, right? I think it's really important we realize like in every season, we have to relearn ourselves and we have to reface past traumas sometimes. And we have to remind ourselves, and yes, give yourself grace, but like some of you feel so stuck in your ways that you don't even think people will take you seriously when you make a change. Like you don't think your husband will take you serious. And I'll be honest, Casey and I have walked through something like that before where it was almost like he's like, you're so stressed out and you're taking it out on the family and we're on eggshells and I don't know if you're capable of change. And so it was almost like when I did start to make change, it's almost like he had to be convinced. And like that is very, very, very discouraging to somebody who is trying to take steps towards change because you feel like, oh, I tried. I was nice last Thursday. But like it takes consistency to make that change and to make that improvement. One other pivotal moment that is so crucial to me and such a blessing. And right now I'm walking through some really, really amazing milestones and celebrations and opportunities that are so big from God. And it's really scary because it's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of work. And I almost like created this podcast to be like my outlet, like my trauma dump outlet. So thank you for being here. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to trauma dump on you. Not too hard, at least. Not without a lesson learned. Another super pivotal moment was May of 2017. So fast forward, I left Disney. We're not going to actually dive into the 2 years between Disney and being married. We're going to wait for another episode for that because, man, I lived a lifetime in those 2 years. I was a gypsy, to say the least. So we'll save that juicy little slice of 2 years for another episode. May of 2017 is when I decided to join Unique. It's a network marketing company. And I've literally been with Unique since May of 2017. I have done makeup live videos no less than 6 times a week since May of 2017. I don't even know. I feel like we got to chat GPT that and be like, how many live videos has she done? Because sometimes I would do them twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, and I still do them. I started just honestly to make some extra money. Casey was in the Coast Guard. I was pregnant with Hudson, who is now 8 years old, turning 9 this year. I had Riley by my side, and it gave me the capability to quit my full-time job. I was in real estate at the time. We're going to have to do like a whole timeline video one time where I could just like give you my life timeline, because then you can fully understand. But it was a lot. Riley was 1 year old. She's turning 10 this Friday. Like what? Depending on when you're watching this. And I remember starting the business and quickly becoming very into it. Like I loved it. It was like my mom time, my me time. It was my release, my therapy. It was a way for me to make money from the household. And I went from working at a little TV tray that I got from Walmart. I upgraded that TV tray to a thrifted or garage sale purchase desk. And I would just do Get Ready With Me lives as like a mom that's pregnant and has like a baby at home. And it was pretty cool. And honestly, within the first year, I more than doubled my salary that I was making at the real estate office, which is crazy. Like I really made a lot of money right away. I do think that joining in 2017, there was like a kind of this like hype moment that I got to be a part of. But like starting my business in May of 2017 and then kind of fast forwarding 3 years to the pandemic. So in 2020, the business blew up. My numbers 10x'd. I was making 7 figures and I wasn't even 30 years old yet. We were living in Virginia at the time. Casey was definitely miserable at the clinic he was working at. He was in healthcare in the Coast Guard, and my business gave us the opportunity to leave the military, and he came home full time. He started several businesses after that, and I've been dabbling my hands in so many things after that. I now have a supplement company, a podcast, a multi-million-dollar beauty empire, a team of over 6,000 women, and I'm about to start my own hair company. I'm busy, to say the least, but like I think so much about May of 2017. And I honestly should probably say, obviously, March of 2015, when I met Casey, was a little bit more pivotal than May of 2017. But like when I think of like moments that made me, I often think of it as like made me and Casey as a couple. Like me and him meeting was such a blur. We literally got pregnant with Riley 3 months after meeting. And it's actually kind of hard to remember like life before him. And one of the big things that we focused on when we got married was like building our emergency fund and our savings. And so May of 2017 was such a blessing to us, because had we have not said yes, I don't think I would see Casey very much. The military is amazing. It was a blessing. Such a blessing when we started. But to be honest, he wasn't home a lot. If you are familiar with like a firefighter schedule, it's 2 on, 2 off sliding weekends. So 50% of the year, 50% of the days he was not home. And then we went a 7-month period where he was gone on a deployment and or training. And it was the most depressing, hardest time of my life. We will definitely dive into that section of life at some point. But I think about May of 2017. I think about his blessing of saying, yes, I can quit my job and do makeup videos at home. Like, I will forever support any dream he ever brings me, because man, like who sells their wife? They can do that. But it blessed us. And I think about how we have had so many memories together, how we've been able to travel the world, give our kids this incredible life that we never had. And what if I never said yes? I think about that when I'm giving people advice too. I always say like, you're one decision away from changing your life. Or you're one car accident from losing your life. Or you're one bad mistake from losing everything you've ever built. Like, you've got to remember things can make or break any moment. So be humble when you've got it and be expectant when you don't have it, because at any moment you can meet the one. We met through my mother-in-law. We worked together, and he was dating somebody. We really hit it off though, so it kind of sucked. But then a couple months later, he reached out to me. We started dating. Not proud of the timeline. We literally got pregnant with Riley pretty early on. Not my proudest moment, but it's okay. And man, what if we didn't meet? And then what if we didn't find this business opportunity? Right? And thank God God had already worked on my heart back when I worked at Disney before I even met Casey, because he knew I was going to meet Casey, the love of my life. I was going to have 2 incredible children. He knew that. And then he knew I was going to start this business, and it was going to bless us in abundance. And he knew he had to prep me for that. There are so many moments in my life that I just go, wow, thank you, God. Thank you for doing that. And I believe that every single one of us has those moments. But I think that it's so important that you identify those moments and then you dissect them, because you may be listening to this and thinking like, I don't have these life-altering moments. Like, it hasn't happened for me yet. It's yet, or it's already happened and you haven't dissected it. You haven't learned from it. You haven't gone deeper and asked God why. Man, I don't know about you, but like my prayers, they just sound like an ongoing dialogue and conversation with God. It's just conversation, just like I'm just talking to him. I'm driving down the road. I'm taking a shower. Like I'm working. Like I literally constantly am talking to God and asking him, what did you mean by that? What did you need me to know from this? It's almost like you have to stop asking God to get rid of the bad things, to end the bad things, to give you a new job or help you find a new person in your life, or right, like we pray often to be like, God, please heal this or please stop this. Instead, we should be asking like, what do you need me to learn from this? Like, what is the purpose of this? Where are you in this? Where do you need me to fix my eyes? And so as you kind of like dissect your life and you go back to these pivotal moments, like I actually challenge you to get a piece of paper and like write out those moments in your life that were really big transitional moments. Ask God, reveal it to me, help me understand. What was I supposed to learn? Because I bet you there are lessons that you've skipped over. And that's why you don't have the blessings. That's why you don't have the life that you think you should have now, because you haven't learned everything you're supposed to have. You don't have all the tools in your tool belt. I think God has made me go through a lot in my life. And I wanted to start this podcast because I want you to learn that there are testimonies and there are life experiences and there is trauma that maybe you even resent or hate. But if you dive deeper, you dig deeper, you dissect more, honestly, it could be the blessing that changes your life. It could be like the key that unlocks the door you've been trying to open. You've been scratching at the door, you've been banging at it, knocking at it. You want this passion, you want this purpose, you want more money, you want more blessings, you want another child, you want another job, you want another car, whatever. There is a reason we don't have those things. So I think that my goal for this podcast, and as I start to share my life and open up and share these experiences, not just so you can get to know me, but I hope that when I dissect certain things of my life in front of you, that you can take it and do the same with your life and make an improvement in your life and find happiness. Man, life is short. It's so painfully short. In a moment, it could be gone. It's so short. So, if you made it to the end, I'm so grateful for you. Buckle up. We've got a lot ahead for us. We're talking healing, trauma, childhood experiences, marriage, life, faith, motherhood. I don't know, all the things, like everything that has made me who I am today. I am going to continue unraveling, unwrapping, and revealing to you in hopes that you want to do that for yourself, that you want to choose the better version of yourself. I think that each and every one of us is a walking testimony. And if I can be so bold to share mine with you, maybe you can do that with somebody else. And just imagine you open up and you share your testimony. Like, I want to really dive deep into the journey of my faith and like how I got to where I've gotten with my relationship with God. And I often think like, what if I get to heaven one day and somebody comes up and says, I'm here because you talked about Jesus. I'm here because you talked about your life and I could relate to it. And then you talked about how Jesus changed it. And now I'm here. I am so grateful for your love, for your support. I'm so excited for the future of this podcast and what God has to do with it. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in to Taking Life with the Rains.